Let's go in now and look at some of the other MIDI editing options. One of my favorite parts of Soundation is this little loop note clip, and you can also consider this to be called a MIDI clip, and that's what I'm so used to it being called in other digital audio workstations. That's what I'm calling it here. Now when I click play, you can see our loop brace has suddenly become enabled, and what will happen is we'll just continue to play over this loop again and again. It's not going to solo the note clip, but usually we don't want it to solo the note clip. If we have a lot of other things playing and we're editing just one of these guys, a lot of times we're doing that to make sure all the pieces are coming together. So if I move this up to bar 5 and I click play, it will just loop again and again and again. Now what I'm thinking I want to do here is maybe add in a bass line or just have a C note sustaining all the way across, or maybe we'll put the C note with each and every one of these bars here. So I can make different notes a number of ways. One way is to just double click. Okay, and notice that I got this really long note here, and that's because I was experimenting with notes before, but what will happen is whatever note you select previously, okay, so what's the last note I clicked? It's this note up here. When I double click, notice that we get a note of identical length and velocity to the last thing we've clicked. The pen tool works exactly the same way. You can see I'm going over to it here. Only all you have to do with the pen tool is click once. Now that can be a little bit obnoxious because if you want to delete a note and you don't click it just right, and to double click you delete, you can accidentally put a lot of notes on top of each other and it can become quite a mess and get rather frustrating pretty quickly. But again, it works the same way as this first mode with if I click something here, I can then add an additional note like so. All right. And with this mode, again, single click, double click if you want to add or to delete. The other way to create a note that I like to do quite a bit is to actually click something, hold down Option, and drag it out like so. You could also use copy and paste, but Option drag is really convenient because what I can do is I can Option drag and then I can put this note right on top. And now if I use my arrow keys to move it around or I click and drag, I can keep it totally locked in and I get a duplicate in terms of length. And a lot of times that can be handy. So what I think I'll do is I'm going to put it right on top of each other. And now I'm going to hold down Shift and I'm going to click down. And what that's done is it's automatically moved that note down an octave. And unfortunately, we can't increase the size of this piano roll here. So being able to just click Shift and move something down an octave, again, very helpful. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring this out. I'll zoom in a little bit. And what I can always do is quantize this, but I'll just hold it and try to get it to be almost as close to 1 bar as I possibly can. And I'll just go ahead and what I'll do is I will Option drag for one of these, and then I'll just go ahead and double click for the other few. Okay, there we go. Now when we play back, this is a little bit awkward. This is too long. So I'll go in, take this note, drag it back. The other thing I noticed is that that bass line is way too loud. So I need to get in here and change the velocity of these 4 notes in the bass. And I can do that by going to this icon here. And what this is trying to show is just various levels from low to high. And to change the velocity, if I want to change it on all of these guys, I can select them all and just click and drag either up or down. Green is going to be the softest. That dark blood red is going to be the loudest. So I'll go for something pretty quiet. And I think what I'll actually do is have this first one be the loudest and then have these other ones all be a little bit quieter so I can really emphasize that downbeat. I like that, but maybe I want to actually increase the pace of these guys, and I could actually make some of them different notes. I'll select all of them at once, and I'm just going to click at the edge and make sure I go back to the selector tool. That's something that will get you a lot of times. Always make sure you kind of go back to the different modes if you're trying to do something it's not working. And I'll just pull these all back to about half their length from before. And I'll click all of them, Option, drag over like so. And now if we listen back, use this little feature. Okay, so there you go. Just very simple, straightforward, to the point. I've gone in here and I've played with the velocities ever so slightly. If I wanted, I could also maybe add this part an octave up. And so I'll go back to my selector tool. I'll click and drag. I'm going to hold Option, do our little trick, put it right on top of each other. Shift, pull them up like so, go back to my velocity, and I can now actually get them all to be the same velocity if I pull all the way down to 0 or all the way up to 100%, and we'll make it something pretty soft as well. So let's take a listen to this. I'm just going to bring these all up a little bit. Great, and that's pretty much all you need to know about MIDI editing inside of Soundation.